a remembrance of Glenn Miller. This is Chuck Cecil with the 10th of a 12-hour reflection of the man and his music. With the original recordings, there are the personalities who shared the bandstands and the recording studios, helping Glenn Miller make music and memories.
There was a very deep spiritual man there that no one ever saw.
We started out with cars, but later in the bus. And of course, in those days, bands did travel by train, too.
He knew that he wasn't the greatest trombone player in the world.
The only time he ever got on me for drinking is when I showed up late.
The shepherd will tend his sheep, the valley will bloom again, and Johnny will go to sleep in his own little room again. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see.
Recording session number 61 for a Glenn Miller orchestra. It was November 24th, 1941, when Ray Eberly sang the words to White Cliffs of Dover. The session, with its pretty songs, was a bit of a shock for Miller's new lead saxophonist, Skip Martin, who, a month before, had been making records for the hard-swinging Benny Goodman Band.
Main thing I remember about my first with Miller was I had just come from Benny Goodman's band, and I came. The first thing that I did was a coast-to-coast broadcast, 7:30 to 8, and I had to read everything at sight. And I'd never seen the book before, and they had 3 different kinds of cuts. And Mose Klink would say, like, the pencil cut, or the blue cut, or the red cut. And I didn't make a mistake, you know, and I was just shocked, you know.
Moonlight Sonata featuring Chummy McGregor on piano. Another of the 5 Bluebird sides made in RCA Victor Studios at session number 61 for Glenn Miller, Memory Maker. Jerry Gray composed the tune. He originally called it That's Where I Came In. But now it was December the 8th, 1941. Pearl Harbor had been attacked the day before. A patriotic touch was added by retitling the tune Keep 'em Flying. It was Glenn Miller recording session number 62, New York City. Newcomer Skippy Martin was getting adjusted to his new leader.
Yes, I think he played very well. For those, for those times. I mean, we weren't as inflated then as we are now, But I think the lowest salary in the band was around $10,000 a year, and that in those days was good money.
Jiggers of moonlight and as a star, pour in the blue of a June night and one guitar, mixing a couple of dreamers and there you are. Lovers hail the moonlight cocktail. Now add a couple of flowers, a drop of dew. Stir for a couple of hours till dreams come true. As to the number of kisses, it's up to you. Moonlight cocktails need a few. Cool it in the summer breeze. Serve it in the starlight underneath the trees. You discover tricks like these are sure to make your moonlight cocktail please. Follow the simple directions and they will bring life of another complexion where you'll be king. You will awake in the morning and start to sing. Moonlight cocktails are the thing. Follow the simple directions and they will bring life of another complexion where you'll be king. You will awake in the morning and start to sing. Moonlight cocktails are the thing.
Ray Eberly joined with the Modernaires for a Jerry Gray arrangement of Moonlight Cocktail, another of the six sides made the day after Pearl Harbor by an orchestra of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker. In the big band era of 1941, holidays were like any other day for musicians. The Glenn Miller Band played Christmas night at the Café Rouge at the Pennsylvania Hotel in New York, were there again New Year's Eve to broadcast on the NBC radio network. Earlier in the evening, they were in the CBS studios for their regular commercial broadcast.
Everybody's waiting for tomorrow's Rose Bowl game, and you Blue Devils better be in the mood. closed 2 years ago, so we close tonight. That's the first of our Moonlight Serenades, starting the third year for the cigarette that satisfies. It'll soon be 1942, and this is Glenn Miller speaking for the makers of Chesterfield. All the boys in the band, everybody, let's all get together and make it a
Happy New Year!
A broadcast performance, an air check of the Glenn Miller Band bringing to a close the year of 1941. New Year's Day would find the band back at the Pennsylvania. Tex Beneke had again been named to an all-star band.
They would take guys from different bands, like winners on saxes and winners on trumpets and so forth. And they would always schedule their recording sessions for, 2 in the morning, because most of the bands got off at 1. And we had this thing cooked up. He knew he was going to have to release me from the job about an hour before the job was over, in order for me to make the record session on time. So we had a pretty nice house at the Cafe Rouge there in the old Pennsylvania, and it came time for me to make my pitch. So Glenn we had just got back on the stand for another dance set, and Glenn would always call 6 or 8 tunes in a row, so we could go right from one to another. And after he called a couple of tunes, I mumbled something, and little Ernie Caceres, the little Mexican baritone man, was sitting next to me. And I mumbled something to Ernie about, man, that's a lousy tune, he called that time. And Ernie says, hey, Tex, not too loud, he'll hear you. I said, who cares whether he hears me or not? And I'm getting louder all the time. And every tune Glenn would call, I'd start griping about it a little more, about what a lousy set this is going to be. So finally Glenn says, what did you say, Texas? And he came over right in front of me. And I told him, I said, I think this is a lousy set you've called, Glenn. And he says, you don't like it? I said, no, I don't like it. He says, why don't you pack? Why don't you take your horns and get out? No 2 weeks notice, no nothing, So I said, that suits me just fine. I've been waiting for this. And I picked up my horns and started across the dance floor. And Ernie Caceres picked up his baritone and his alto and his clarinet, and he says, that goes for me too. And he started out across right in back of me. And the whole thing backfired on Glenn. So then we had to bear the plot, and bring the guys back again, tell them what was going on.
And if the little things, like conspiring to let a band member off early, ended in failure, those big things continued to be even more successful in that new year of 1942 for Glenn Miller, memory maker.
When the modern airs came with the orchestra, that really, I think, enhanced the band a great deal. And it was what we needed vocally. And as it turned out, I discovered that I was a terrific group singer. After Chuck Goldstein left, we'd had double lead at first. Glenn insisted. I'm sure it worked out that way. I'm sure that Glenn insisted that I sing with the group. He says, after all, 4 guys up there, that doesn't look very good. And he said, I think it would be very nice to have a girl. So he insisted that I, participate. And so we had double lead. And then when Chuck left, I sang all the lead with the group and discovered that I was very good at that. And so I guess if I could say if there was anything that I did well, it was that. And then also because I always I could spark any situation.
Assembly line, on the old assembly line, everything is hum, hum, humming on the old assembly line.
When the overalls combine with the mighty dollar sign,
There'll be miles and miles of American smiles
from the factory to the mine,
on the old assembly line. On the old assembly line, on the old assembly line.
Everything is hum, hum, humming on the old assembly line.
when the overalls combine with the mighty dollar sign.
There'll be miles and miles of American smiles from the factory to the mine.
On the old assembly line.
I'm the farmer who tills the soil.
I'm the driller who drills the oil. I forge the rivets that weld the tank. I buy the bonds in 1,000 banks. I build a ship we're proud to sail.
I give my men a full dinner pail.
I clerk, I fight, I warden at night. I quiet, I read, I jockey a jeep.
Ship runs planes, tanks, north, south, east, and west. Turn the wheels and cranks for the millions of Yanks from the factory to the mine on the old assembly line.
Marion Hutton adding a spark to a situation called On the Old Assembly Line. Beneke and the Modernaires assisted at recording session number 63, the 5th day of the new year, 1942. This is Chuck Cecil with a chronological display of the 71 commercial recording sessions by the orchestras of Glenn Miller. Selections heard in this 12-hour presentation are the originals, and voice tracks are by the musicians, vocalists, and arrangers who helped Glenn Miller become a memory maker.
Skylark, have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love can be? Is there a meadow in the mist where someone's waiting to be kissed? Skylark, have you seen a valley green with spring, where my heart can go a-journeying over the shadows and the rain to a blossom-covered lake? And in your lonely flight, haven't you heard the music of the night? Wonderful music, faint as the will-o'-the-wisp, crazy as a lute, sad as a gypsy serenading the moon. Oh, skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there?
Glenn Miller recording session number 64, RCA Victor Studios, New York. By this time, January 8th, 1942, Dale McMickle had been playing trumpet in the band for almost 3 full years. He knew his leader.
He didn't care about your drinking, as long as you did your work. But he, like I say, I repeat, he insisted that you do your work. But as far as your drinking is concerned, he never said not to. Never put down the law about that. As far as smoking pot, why, if you did it on your own time and he didn't know about it, that was all right too. But he didn't want any around the band. I see, it was a very clean band. The only time he ever got on me for drinking is when I showed up late.
You are always in my heart, even though you're far away. I can hear the music of the song of love I sang with you. You are always in my heart, and when skies above are gray, I remember that you care. And then and there the sun breaks through. Just before I go to sleep, there's a rendezvous I keep, and the dream I always meet helps me forget we're far apart. I don't know exactly when, dear, but I'm sure we'll meet again, dear. And my darling, till we do, you are always in my heart.
Skylark and Always in My Heart, featuring vocalist Ray Eberly, two of the four sides made at recording session number 64 by Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
I think everyone in the orchestra had the feeling that if there's going to be a new man admitted, he better fill the bill, or we're going to put the screws on the guy, but not personally. It was just the overall feeling. If, for instance, Tex usually ran the saxophone section, and if he felt that somebody from the outside came in for one guy leaving, and he felt that the balance or the feeling was not there, he'd say so. Or in the trumpet section, or whatever, in the brass section. But otherwise,
the camaraderie of the feeling of the orchestra was just marvelous.
Members of the Miller Band, including vocalist Ray Eberly, had many reasons to be proud of their outfit. While they weren't the first band to have a million-selling record, they were the first to be honored with the symbolic Gold Record Award. It happened at one of their broadcasts, the night of February the 10th, 1942.
I want to present Mr. W. Wallace Early, the manager of record sales for Victor and Bluebird Records. Mr. Early.
Thanks, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And speaking for RCA Victor, we're mighty proud of that Chattanooga Choo Choo and the man who made the record, Glenn Miller. You see, it's been a long time, 15 years, in fact, since any record has sold 1 million copies. And Chattanooga Choo Choo certainly put on steam and breezed right through that million mark by over 200,000 pressings. And we decided that Glenn should get a trophy. The best one we could think of was a gold record of Chattanooga. And now, Glenn, it's yours with the best wishes of RCA Victor Bluebird Records.
Well, thank you, Wally. That's really a wonderful present. I think everyone listening in on the radio should know, Glenn, it actually is a recording of Chattanooga Choo Choo, but it's in gold, solid gold, and it's really fine. That's right, Paul. And now for the boys in the band and for the whole gang, thanks 1,200,000. That's nicely put, Glenn, and I know that our sponsors are mighty proud of that record, too. So now, suppose we enjoy you and the boys playing what's on that gold record. Chattanooga Choo Choo.
The world's first gold record award, and then a broadcast performance of the tune Chattanooga Choo Choo. 8 days later, there would be another million-selling record made by Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
The band started swinging more for 2 or 3 reasons. One, Glenn wasn't quite so worried about the dollar as he was at first when he was broke, you know. And so he himself was a little bit more relaxed. But also, very frankly, Chuck, we all knew that we were going in the service. It wasn't like today when kids don't know and they have this hanging over them. We all knew. There was no question. If you could walk around, you were going in. So the fellows kind of lost the fear of losing their job. And so the band started to swing more. And it was a beautiful thing. So some of the very latest records that we made actually swing much more than the band that was getting so famous as it was growing up. You see.
Trombonist Paul Tanner had been with Glenn Miller since September of '38. Was still there February 18th, 1942 for session number 65.
Apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home.
I just got word from a guy who heard from the guy next door to me. The girl he met just loves to pet, and it fits you to a T. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home.
Don't give up with those lips of yours to anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no, no. Watch the girls on the foreign shores. You'll have to report to me when you come marching home. Don't hold anyone on your knee. You better be true to me. You better be true to me. You better be true to me. Don't hold anyone on your knee. You're getting a third degree when you come marching home. You're on your own where there is no phone, and I can't keep tab on you. Be fair to me, I'll guarantee this is one thing that I'll do. I won't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but you till you come marching home.
Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. I know the apple tree is reserved for you and me, and I'll be true till you come marching home.
Recording session number 65 was held in New York, February the 18th, 1942. Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree, featuring the Modernaires, Tex Beneke, and Marion Hutton.
Singing with the group, you knew, the sound, you knew what that was going to sound like, and you knew it was going to be good. Because they were good. The group was good. I thought the group was good, and I thought we did most things very well. So I never worried about how it was going to turn out. We didn't know, naturally, it's very hard to know if you're going to have a hit or not. I don't think that in those days most people knew. In fact, probably it's very much the same way today. You think it's good, and so you record it, and you hope that the public, will feel the way you do about it, which is not always the truth. But it always seemed to me that most of the things involving the group turned out very, very well.
As did a romantic ballad from that same record session number 65.
Do-ah, 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 do-ah. A moment after dark around the park, an old-fashioned gent comes parading,
dressed in funny clothes, but singing as he goes,
the lamplighter serenade.
the old boy loves to talk with couples on the walk,
but when it's half after love time,
he reaches for his sticks, and from his bag of tricks,
he lights every star in the sky. And if a lady or a beau should answer no, he sprinkles their hearts with his magic.
then he steals away to sing another day,
the lamplighter serenade. And if a lady or a answer no. He sprinkles every heart with magic.
Then he steals away to sing another day
The lamplighter serenade. Do-ah, 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 do-ah. The lamplighter serenade.
Ray Eberly and the Modernaires with Lamplighter's Serenade, concluding session number 65. The band would take a brief vacation. Miller would stroke a hole-in-one on a North Carolina golf course. Then it was off to Hollywood again for the musicians, the singers, the arrangers of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker. The original performance of Kalamazoo, one of the hit songs to come out of the film Orchestra Wives, featuring the entire orchestra and singers of Glenn Miller. Soundtrack work for the band lasted from the third week of March to the third week of May, 1942. For the film, as for records, the Miller sound was maintained by his three arrangers, Jerry Gray, Billy May, and Bill Finnegan.
Probably the most identifying feature of the band was the saxophone section with the clarinet lead. The clarinet would play the melody on top, and four saxophones were set underneath that. And that, is the most characteristic, most readily identifiable sound of the band, I'd say. And there were lots of other little things that crept in that just emerged as a result of the writing, of things that just popped up that became part of the identity of the band. And any other arranger writing for the band had enough common sense to use the identifying sound of the band in his writing. So Miller really didn't have to say to an arranger, I want you to do this or that. They just did it.
In the album of my memory, serenade in blue.
from the soundtrack of Orchestra Wives' Serenade in Blue. Bobby Hackett was enjoying his work, soloing with Glenn Miller's orchestra.
I thought he was a wonderful guy and most honorable in every way that I can think of, and it's just a shame that he had to leave the scene so young. And the music business would have been better if he had passed. There's a general tendency among musicians to envy anybody who does better than they do. But I don't believe in that. I respect the guy's accomplishments and say again he was a great man.
Another view of the man and his music, concluding the 10th hour of our 12-hour study of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.